Conversation with an Alien God, Book 2, Chapter 5 on Time Measurement. You promised in the first book to explain in Book 2 a long list of larger things, such as time and space, love and war, good and evil, and planetary geopolitical consideration of the highest order. You was promised to further explain in some detail the human experience of sex. Yes, I promised all those things. Book 1 had to do with more personal inquiries with one's life as an individual. Book 2 deals with your collective life on the planet. Book 3 concludes the trilogy, the largest truths, the cosmology, the whole picture, the journey of the soul taken together. My best current advice and information on everything from trying your shoe to understanding your universe. Have you said all you are going to say about time? I will say all you need to know. There is no time. All things exist simultaneously. All events occur at once. This book is being written, and as it is being written, it already exists. In fact, that's where you are getting all this information, from the book that already exists. You are merely bringing it into form. That is what is meant by even before you ask, I will have answered. I'm still waiting for your answer. This information about time all seems well interesting but rather esoteric. Does it have any implication to real life? A true understanding of time allows you to live much more peacefully within your reality of relativity. Where time is experienced as a movement, a flow, rather than a constant. It is you who are moving, not time. Time has no movement. There is only one moment. At some level, you deeply understand this. That's why when something real magnificent or significant occurs in your life, you often say it is as if time stands still. It does. And when you do also, you often experience one of those life-defining moments. I find this hard to believe. How can this be possible? Your science has already proven this mathematically. Formulas have been written showing that if you get into a spaceship and fly far enough, fast enough, you could swing back around towards the Earth and watch yourself taken off. This demonstrates that time is not a movement but a field through which you move. In this case, on the spaceship Earth, you say it takes 365 days to make a year. Yet, what is a day? You have decided quite arbitrarily, I might add, that a day is the time it takes your spaceship to make one complete revolution on its axis. How do you know it's made such a spin? You can't feel it moving. You have chosen a reference point in the heavens, the sun. You say it takes a full day for the portion of the spaceship you are on to face the sun, turn away from the sun, then face the sun again. If you divide this day into 24 hours, again quite arbitrarily, you could just as easily have said 10 or 73. Then you divided each hour into minutes. You said each hourly unit contained 60 smaller units called minutes, and that each of those contained 6 tiny units called seconds. One day you noticed that the Earth was not only spinning, it was also flying. You saw that it was moving through space around the sun. You carefully calculated that it took 365 revolutions of the earth for the earth itself to revolve around the sun. This number of earth spins you called a year. Things got kind of messy when you decided that you wanted to divide up a year into units smaller than a year but larger than a day. You created the week and the month, and you managed to get the same number of months in every year, but not the same number of days in every month. You couldn't find a way to divide an odd number of days, 365, by an even number of months, 12. So you just decided that some months contained more days than others. You felt you had to stay with 12 as the yearly subdivider because that was the number of lunar cycles you observed your moon moving through during a year. In order to reconcile these three spatial events, revolutions around the sun, spins of the earth on its axis, and moon cycles, you simply adjusted the number of days in each month. Even this device didn't solve all the problems because your earlier inventions kept creating a build-up of time which you didn't know what to do with. So you also decided that every so often 1 year would have to have a whole day more. You called this leap year, and I joked about it, but actually live by such a construction. And then you call my explanation of time unbelievable. You've just arbitrarily created the decades and centuries based entirely on tens, not 12s, to further measure the passage of time. But all along, what you've really been doing is merely devising a way to measure movements through space. Thus, we see that it's not time which passes, but objects which pass through and move around in a static field which you call space-time. Is simply your way of counting movements. So time is simply your way of counting movements. Scientists deeply understand this connection and therefore speak in terms of the space-time continuum. Your Dr. Steins and others realized that time was a mental construction, a relational concept. Time was what it was relative to the space that existed between objects. If the universe is expanding, which it is, then it takes longer for the earth to revolve around the sun today than it did a billion years ago. There is more space to cover. Thus, it took more minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, and centuries for all these cyclical events to occur recently than it did in 1492. When is a day not a day? When is a year not a year? Your new highly sophisticated time instruments now record this time discrepancy, and every year clocks around the world are adjusted to accommodate a universe that won't sit still. This is called Greenwich Mean Time, and it's mean because it makes a liar out of the universe. Stein theorized that if it wasn't a time which was moving, but he who was moving through space at a given rate, all he had to do was change the amount of space between objects or change the rate of speed with which he moved through space from one object to another to alter time. It was general theory of relativity which expanded your modern day understanding of the correlation between time and space. You now may begin to understand why, if you make a long journey through space and return, you may have aged on 10 years, while your friends on Earth while your friends on earth will have aged 30. So, you may begin to understand why if you make a long journey through space and you return, you may have aged only 10 years, while your friends on earth will have aged 30. Then that's mean I have my mind and my mind and face on the sky. I'm always on the sky and the other outer space because I'm age very slow. The farther you go, the more you warp the space-time continuum, and the less your chances when you land of finding alive on the earth anyone who was there when you left. Because here time passes more fast and quick than the other time, or you move around faster than in outer space. However, if scientists on Earth in some future time developed a way to propel themselves faster, they could cheat the universe and stay in sync with real time on Earth. Return to find that the same time had passed on Earth as it had passed on the spaceship. Obviously, if even more propulsion were available, one could return to the Earth before one took off. That's to say, time on Earth would pass more slowly than time on the spaceship. You could come back and 10 of your years in the Earth would have aged only 4. Increase the speed, and 10 years in space might mean 10 minutes on Earth. Now, so 10 years in space might mean 10 minutes on Earth. So how come you age here farther than the other side? Faster than the other side? Unless it's because of the gravitation. The gravity here is different, is more dense. Now, come across a fold in the fabric of space. Stein and others believe such folds exist, and they were correct, and you are suddenly propelled across space in one infinitesimal moment. Could such a time-space phenomenon literally fling you back into time? It should not be quite as difficult to now see that time does not exist except as a construction of your mentality. Everything that's ever happened and is ever going to happen and is happening now. The ability to observe it merely depends on your point of view, your place in space. If you were in my place, you could see it all right now. Comprehend? Wow! I'm beginning to on a theoretical level, yes. Good. I've explained it to you here very simply so that a child could understand it. It may not make good science, but it produces good comprehension. Right. Right now, physical objects are limited in terms of their speed, but non-physical objects, my thoughts, my soul, could theoretically move through the ether at incredible speeds. Exactly, precisely. Look at it again. Right now, physical objects are limited in terms of their speed because of the gravity, but non-physical objects, my thoughts, my soul, could theoretically move through the ether at incredible speeds. Of course, because they have different molecules, different atoms. They are construct different atoms, and we have more dense atoms, more like quarks. Exactly, precisely, and that is what happens often in dreams and not out of the body in psychic experiences. You now understand the deja vu. You probably have been there before. But if everything has already happened, then it follows that I am powerless to change my future. Is this predestination? Again, if everything has already happened, then it follows that I am powerless to change my future. Is this predestination? No, Don't buy into that. That's not true. In fact, this setup should serve you, not disserve you. You are always at a place of free will and total choice. Being able to see into the future or get others to do it for you should enhance your ability to live the life you want, not limit it. Too much for those who predict the future. Those people, the suitor. How? I need help here. There's a possibility that will happen, but eventually we as a group consciousness decide. And we can even decide our own future. How? I need help here. If you see a future event or experience you do not like, don't choose it. Choose again, select another. Okay, like change or alter your behavior so as to avoid the undecided outcome. So I always say, like, okay, they say if you don't change your group consciousness, something bad going to happen to Earth, like wars, like calamities, upheavals, etc. You see, so you have a choice to change that. As for our destiny, like say, okay, tomorrow, if you're going to take that trip, that you're going to take that flight, you're gonna die. So better don't do it. Don't go to that in that travel. So try not to go. Like for example, I'm going to cite an example. In 2004, we were planning. We were planning. Me, ex-husband, and kids before they were young, to go to Thailand, okay, for vacation. It was June. In June we had planned to go in December 2004. But suddenly we have other plans, so we say we're gonna go now because maybe December we'll do other things. So let's go now. Don't go for Christmas to Thailand. We just go now. So you went in 2004 June rather than go on the next holiday. Understand? So what happened? We missed the great tsunami, the great flood, and we went to the same beach where the beach that where the tsunami covered. So had we gone in December that time, we would be dead. So no. So how? I need help. If you see a future event and experience you do not like, don't choose it. Choose again. Select another. Change or alter your behavior so as to avoid the undecided outcome. But how can I avoid that which has already happened? Exactly. It has not happened to you yet. You are at a place in the space-time continuum where you are not consciously aware of the occurrence. You do not know it has happened. You have not remembered your future. Oh, that is mighty boggling. It has not happened to you yet. You are at a place in the space-time continuum where you are not consciously aware of the occurrence. You do not know it has happened. You have not remembered your future. This forgetfulness is the secret of all time. It is what makes it possible for you to play the great game of life. I'll explain later. What you do now know is not so, since you do not remember your future. It has not happened to you yet. A thing happens only when it is experienced. A thing is experienced only when it is known. Now, let's say you have been blessed with a brief glimpse, a split-second knowing of your future. What's happened is that your spirit, the non-physical part of you, I simply sped to another place on the space-time continuum and brought back some residual energy, some images or impressions of that moment or event. It's because we are made up of body, mind, and then we have the causal body and the astral body. And I think if I make a mistake, there's another one is the oversoul. So together is 5 fractions or 5 facets or 5 pieces of our total makeup. So when we die, body stays back, or body is cremated, whatever, goes back to the elements. And then what goes on will be the causal and the mind, entity body, and the God self and the astral. The astral body could be also the causal body. That one itself carries all the weight of our deeds. But this body per se won't be living long. It won't last long, I believe so. The mind also doesn't last long, and that's the causal body. And the astral body may be the oversoul that commands and take over, or say God's self, all this thing. They will speak for ideas, just like one part of us will want to advocate some kind of spoken person for the entity that we are, and the consciousness goes back to cosmos. Okay, so this is what happened after that. This you can feel. Sometimes another who has developed metaphysical gift can feel or see these images and energies that are swirling about you. If you don't like what you sense about your future, step away from that. Just step away from it. In that instant, you change your experience, and every one of you breathes a sign of relief. Okay, we wish we could see all what is going to happen to us tomorrow. Unfortunately, not all of us are able to see it, isn't it? So how can you predict it? How can you avoid it when you cannot predict it? Wait a minute. Wow. What? You must know. You are now ready to be told that you exist at every level of the space-time continuum simultaneously. That is, your soul always was, always is, and always will be, world without end. Amen. 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 Then this you can feel sometime. Another who has developed the metaphysical gift can feel or see these images and energy that's swirling about you. If you don't like what you sense about your future, step away from that. Just step away from it. In that instant you change your experience, and every one of you breathes a sign of relief. I exist in more places than one. Of course, you exist everywhere and in all times. That's mind-boggling, you know. Really mind-boggling. Maybe he's talking about our God's self or whatever, of the soul, which is everywhere. There is a me in the future and a me in the past. Well, future and past do not exist, as we've just taken pains to understand. But using those words as you have been using them, yes, there is more than one of me. There is more than one of me. There is only one of you, but you are much larger than you think. That's once the God itself explain it properly. Well, future and past does not exist, as we've just taken pains to understand. But using those words as you have been using them, yes, there is more than one of me. There is only one of you, but you are much larger than you think. Yeah, giant over soul, God's self. So when the me that exists now changes something he doesn't like about his future, the me that exists in the future no longer has that as a part of his experience. See? Essentially, yes, the whole mosaic changes, but he never loses the experience he's given himself. He's just relieved and happy that you don't have to go through that. Essentially, yes, the whole mosaic changes, but he never loses the experience he's given himself. He's just relieved and happy that you don't have to go through that. So when the me that exists now changes something he doesn't like about his future, the me that exists in the future no longer has that as a part of his experience. See? I don't know. This is also mind-boggling. But the me in the past has yet to experience this, so he walks right into it. In sense, yes, but of course you can help him. I can, sure, forced by changing what the you in front of you experienced. The you behind you may never have to experience it. It's by this device that your soul evolves. In the same way, the future you got help from his own future self, thus helping you avoid what he did not. Did you follow that? So I'm gonna repeat because it sounds so complex that it's very hard to understand. But the me in the past has yet to experience this, so he walks right into it. In a sense, yes, but of course you can help him, which is you in the past helping you in the future. You understand? Or you made no you now in the present help yourself in the future because the past is gone. I can, sure, force by changing what the you in front of you experience, the you behind you may never have to experience it. It's by this device that your soul evolves. In the same way, the future you got help from his own future self, thus helping you avoid what he did not. Did you follow that? Oh my God! Of course I understand, but then how will you know what's gonna happen in the future? Predict what will happen in the future? Huh? How can we avoid it unless we can predict it now? Yes, it's intriguing, but now I have another question. What about past lives? If I have always been me in the past, in the future, how could I have been someone else, another person in a past life? You are a divine being capable of more than one experience at the same time and are able to divide yourself into as many different selves as you choose. You can live the same life over and over again in different ways, as I've just explained. And you can also live different lives at different times on the continuum. Thus, all the while you are being you, here, now, you can also be. So you are divine beings capable of more than one experience at the same time. The guy asked, yes, and it's intriguing, but now I have another question. What about past lives? If I have always been me in the past and in the future, how could I have been someone else, another person in a past life? You are a divine being capable of more than one experience at the same time and able to divide yourself into as many different selves as you choose. Now this being here is trying to confuse, he's really doesn't explain well and he's confused a lot. What I understand here is that he's talking about our ancestral and about past lives, from our ancestral, and then that it should be repeating twice, or maybe we shouldn't be repeating the lessons of the past and repeating here now in the present, on the future. So by know our history, our past history, maybe you can remedy, you can heal the future or our present by not repeating it. So, but no, he make it so difficult, and then he say that he teach very simple. No, they do not teach simple, and they make a mess of their teachings on purpose to confuse, and then after that they complain why people don't understand, and they say that they have been many teachers, many this and that, uh, many teachings, but if they don't teach well, people only can go astray. Like what they have done for all those so-called holy book. Most of the time, you all through metaphors and complexity. If you're not smart enough to break that all those metaphor and um, analogies, you're going wrong, and you're gonna take everything from the book. Like they say, a tooth for a tooth, an eye for an eye. If you take it literally, you go around, take people tooth and take people eyes when they do you wrong. That's rubbish. So you are a living being capable of more than one experience at the same time. Tell it right, dude. Tell it right. Tell it right. Stop making a mishmash. It's just like the Brazilians football soccer like to dribble and show off, and at the end he never do make the goal. You can live the same life over and over again in different ways, and we just explained. It can also be a different level at different times on the continuum. Just all the while you are being you here now. You can also be and have been other selves in other times and places. Yeah, maybe through her reincarnation or through our God self or through our own ancestral. Good grief, this gets complicated and complicated. Exactly, because you do this on purpose, you know. Good grief, this gets complicated and complicated. Yes, and we are really only just scratching the surface here because you don't explain properly. Just know this, you are being of divine proportion, knowing no limitation. A part of you is choosing to know yourself as your presently experienced identity. Yet, this is by far not the limit of your being, although you think that it is. Don't enroll with your snake tongue. Why? You must think that it is, or you cannot do what you've given yourself this life to do. And what is that? You told me before, but tell me again, here and now. You are using all of life, all of many lives, to be and decide who you really are. You are using all of life, all of many lives, to be and decide who you really are, to choose and to create who you really are, to experience and to fulfill your current idea about yourself. You must think why, and what is that? You told me before, but tell me again, here and now. You are using all of life, all of many lives, to be and decide who you really are, to choose and to create who you really are, to experience and to fulfill your current idea about yourself. You are an internal moment of self-creation and self-fulfillment through the process of self-expression. You have drawn the people, events, and circumstances of your life to you as tools with which to fashion the grandest version of the greatest vision you ever had about yourself. This process of creation and recreation is ongoing, never-ending, and multi-layered. It's all happening right now and on many levels. In your linear reality, you see the experience here as one of past, present, and future. You imagine yourself to have one life, or perhaps many, but surely only one at a time. But what if there were no time? Then you would be having all your lives at once. You are. You are living this life, your presently realized life, in your past, your present, your future, all at once. Have you ever had a strange foreboding about some future event so powerful that made you turn away from it? In your language, you call that premonition. From my viewpoint, it is simply an warning sea. A warning sea you suddenly have of something you have just experienced in your future. Your future you is saying. Your future you is saying, hey, this one is no fun. Don't do this. You are also living other lives, what we call past lives right now as well. Although you experience them as have been in your past, if you experience them at all, and that is just as well, it would be very difficult for you to play this wonderful game of life if you had full awareness of what is going on. Even this description offered here cannot give you that. If it did, the game would be over. The process depends on the process being complete until as it is, including your lack of total awareness here at this stage. So you're also living other lives that you call past lives right now as well, although you experience them as you have been in your past. If you experience them at all, and that is just as well, it would be very difficult for you to play this wonderful game of life if you had full awareness of what's going on. Even this description offered here cannot give you that. If it did, the game would be over. The process depends on the process being complete as it is, including your lack of total awareness at this stage. So bless the process. Why should I accept it as the greatest gift of the kindest creator, great kind creator indeed. Don't be so full of yourself. So bless the process and accept it as the greatest gift of the kindest creator. Embrace the process and move through it with peace and wisdom and joy. Use the process and transform it from something you endure to something you engage as a tool in the creation of the most magnificent experience of all time, the fulfillment of your divine self. How? How can I best do that? Yeah, if it's suffering. This is what he means, suffering. Do not waste the precious moment of this, your present reality, seeking to unveil all of life's secrets. Those secrets are secrets for a reason. Grant your God the benefit of the doubt. Why should you? You are not my God. I don't take you as my God. You know why you cannot find out the truth, huh? Because there's a game behind all this, a scheme, an agenda. Grant your God the benefit of the doubt. Use your now moment for the highest purpose, the creation and the expression of who you really are. Decide who you are, who you want to be, and then do everything in your power to be that. And damn if you do good, and damn you if you do bad. Use what I have told you about time as a framework within your limited understanding, upon which to place the construction of your grandest idea. If an impression comes to you about the future, honor it. If an idea comes to you about a past life, see that it has any use of you. Go! Use that I have told you about time as a framework within your limited understanding. Within your limited understanding, upon which to place the construction of your grandest idea. If an impression comes to you about the future, honor it. If an idea comes to you about past life, see it. See if it has any use for you. Don't simply ignore it. Most of all, if a way is made known to you to create, display, express, and experience your divine self in ever more glory right here, right now, follow their way. And then a way will be made known to you because you have asked it. Crap. Producing this book is a sign of your asking. For you could not be producing it right now before your very eyes without an open mind, an open heart, and a soul which is ready to know. The same is true of those who are now reading it, for they have created it too. How else could they now be experiencing it? Everyone is creating everything now being experienced. Which is another way of saying that I am creating everything now being experienced, for I am everyone. Are you getting the symmetry here? Are you seeing the perfection? Is all contained in a single truth. There is only one of us. Okay. So now it's over now.